Warning, spoilies ahead. I bought this specifically because of this movie.
I mean,
Like, I remember watching it like the first time. I was like, I need a snakeskin jacket, and I need it now. The good thing, though, is that this is a vegan snakeskin jacket. So,
well, that's pretty cool. Did you smuggle that?
no, it was. They asked if I wanted this or a picture of my family.
I mean,
obviously, of
course,
this.
obviously. That's. I mean,
hey, have I ever told you that this snakeskin jacket represents my individuality and my belief in personal freedom?
yes, many times.
Okay, just making sure that you know that this snakeskin jacket represents my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
Okay, well, I mean, sometimes I forget, so you might need to bring it up a few more times.
Okay, just I'll let you know
All right.
around that this snakeskin jacket represents my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
High five.
Oh, okay. Hi, and welcome to Two Guys, One Film, a Project Nerd show. I am Dylan.
And I'm Dane.
And this week we watched the 1990 movie Wild at Heart, directed by David Lynch, screenplayed by David Lynch, based off the novel by Barry Gifford, Wild at Heart, the story of Sailor and Lula. And it's got a fucking all-star cast. Let's go down the line. You got Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, Willem Dafoe, Crispin Glover, Diane Ladd, Laura Dern's mom. You got Isabella Rossellini, Harry Dean Stanton, fucking Cheryl Fenn's in it.
It's crazy.
You got Jack Nance in it.
I can't think of another David Lynch movie that's got like this many people. Like I know that like there's some like somewhat famous people in some of his movies. Just I don't remember there being like such a huge cast like this.
What it's like this was.
I guess that all went on to do like some pretty big things.
Like this was when he was filming season 2 of Twin Peaks. So that's why you see some Twin Peaks people in it, like Jerry Horn. He was like one of the fucking henchmen of the lady with like the voodoo lady with the cane and stuff. And then you have like Cheryl Fenn's in it, like Audrey Horn. You got Laura Palmer's in it. I just forgot her name. Sure. I'm bad. I can't. Man. Anyway.
Well, it's funny because I was watching it and I'm like, man, like it wouldn't bother me, but it felt like some of the music was recycled from like.
So let's get into this first. A brief synopsis.
Okay, I'm not saying that because I didn't like. I love every score of like music from like David Lynch. It's just they're always like that.
So. That's done by good old Angelo Badalamenti, who did the music for Twin Peaks, and I think he's done music with David Lynch before. I think they even have a band called Thought Gang, so it's kind of like a jazz band that sounds like that. Like Angelo's got a very specific style. Like you hear like the bass, the stand-up bass, and like the organ and stuff, and like it's very repetitive in like Twin Peaks. Like they play like the same music.
I love it,
like
but
it's cool. It fits.
Some of it sounded like so much like Twin Peaks. I'm like, man,
yeah. Anyway, brief synopsis is Sailor and Lula are a couple, and her mother tries to get someone to kill him, and he just goes fucking berserk, kills the dude, and spends some time in jail. 22 months in jail. Gets out. Him and Lula hit the town, breaks parole, and then her mom hires a private investigator, also a hitman, to come get him. Just crazy bunch of nonsense. It gets nutso, and it's one of my favorite David Lynch movies. Top 3 for sure in that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll get into how we feel about it.
Yeah, seriously, this like I remember watching this movie and like I was like, I want to be like Sailor, and that's why I bought this vegan snakeskin jacket to represent my individuality and my belief in personal freedom. So I was like, I want to be like Sailor. And I was like, I was gonna sit like this a lot, be her turn. She did a lot of standing like this.
That was like one of the first things I wrote on here is there's a style in David Lynch movies where everybody kind of overacts, but like it it's not even like overacting. I don't really know how to like describe it because I feel like he tells them like do it like this, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to just I don't know, maybe you know what I'm know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a very like surrealistic style that he's got.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like a fantasy kind of a thing, but also like reality. I mean, that's like with surrealism, but it's like it's just like not how people would talk, but he does it that way. And it
Yeah.
just makes the story more uneasy, but it also like helps add to it of like this is just like a story. It's just like a weird way that he tells
That's one
stories.
of the
And
reasons I like watching David Lynch movies because you feel a certain way, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like snapped into something not anywhere near what
horrifying,
you
and
were
you're like,
just watching, and it makes you jump, and you're like,
it's almost like a play sometimes, like the way people act.
yeah,
Like it's a lot of like waiting for responses, you know, people like in weird positions, and then like the way that people are staged on the screen too. Like there's that shot later on where it's like her mom in the hotel, and there's like the old guy on the crutch, and then there's like another old guy, and then there's like an old guy in a cane just like standing in the middle, and it's like he's always like frame shit so weird, but it's like it's such a fucking cool style that like
honestly,
other
like that
people try to
part
replicate, but
specifically, I
like
thought like, what is with the old like just be like old people? There's
I
like a
feel
whole
like
lot of that in this though. There's a new like that's kind of what you should expect it when you're getting into a David Lynch film.
like you should expect like randomly seeing a person that you'll never see again, and they maybe be a weird looking person. You're like, that was uneasy, what the hell was that? And you're like, you'll never see him again. Like later on when there's like just that jazz band playing, and then suddenly this weird looking lady like shuffles across the screen, goes into darkness, next scene please, and it's just shit like that.
Or
What I love,
the guy with like the super high voice.
yeah, which was in Dune, which also there's some people in Dune in this movie too. But yeah, he was in Dune. But yeah, like I'd like, and it wouldn't be a David Lynch movie if someone didn't have like their voice obviously altered.
Yeah.
So, but
see, and that's what makes it feel so like you're. It feels like you're in someone's dream, like they're telling you about their dream. And you're just like, what?
That's
like,
it.
And they're like,
Because,
oh, no, this happened. You're like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, how did you get to that point? And
but
why was there
it's like interesting through the whole thing? Like it's weird and like
that's
interesting.
the best way to put it. Yeah, it's like all of his movies are just like a fucking dream.
Yeah,
and like transitions are crazy, and it just like cuts to scenes very rapid, like crazy. But like the what I love about this movie is like it's constant, like I don't want to say juxtaposition, but like opposites thing. Like you have this really quiet, tender scene, and then it'll cut to something like really intense, and then back to this, and the music's different, and then back to that, and like it'll just jump around. And
a few times the match lighting made me jump.
Yeah,
because it would just be them, and they're quiet. You know, you're like, okay, and then and you're like.
But I love the beginning of the movie. It's like this 50s music, you know, he's walking down the stairs with Lula, and then when he starts fighting the dude, just like metal music.
Yeah,
he's just like hitting that guy's head on the rail. And like David Lynch also is really good at violence. He's also like the only other person that does, I don't want to say realistic, but uneasy violence is Guillermo del Toro. Or like it's violence and you're like, that's way too realistic. I don't know how he knew something like that, but that's like what David Lynch does, where it's like not the typical brand of like someone's head splattered. You're just like, oh god, that's uneasy.
Yeah,
but then like it goes from that metal music, and then it fades back into that 50s music.
Yeah,
you know, and then he just does the Ghost Rider point to her mom at the top of the stairs. Like it's like the whole movie is like that, where like music will fade back into itself like after a tense scene. So. And the PD correctional facility, I always thought it said PP correctional facility.
Okay, I wasn't the only one that I Because like I had to double take, and then I'm like, "That's a pee-pee."
Yeah. PP correctional facility. I gotta fix this. It's bugging the shit out of me.
So I mean, what was going on with that jacket again?
Well, honestly, this jacket, to me, it represents my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's usually why I wear the snakeskin jacket.
it's pretty cool, dude.
So that scene when he is getting out of prison and he calls Lula's house and it's her mom, and she's like saying, "It's like you'll never see Lula again. You'll be dead." And he just goes, "What?" Like the way he says, "What?" I was like, "What?" Like actually, genuinely confused. As fucking
I might have said the same thing too. Something like, "Will you be dead?"
What?
Dead?
And this movie is also brought to you by clothing that Dylan wishes he had. Like his whole fucking like wardrobe in this. I was like, I want that. Oh man, I
even
want
the
that.
even like the bikini underwear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And going to bed with my socks on, you fucking bet, dude. That's not uncomfortable at all.
I put on 2 pairs when I go to bed.
Yeah. The other one of the many, many great things I love about David Lynch is that he holds scenes for too long. Like, and it like if you watch like any of his movies, and especially like Twin Peaks: The Return season, it's just like a scene will go on too long.
Mm-hmm.
And the one of the ones in this movie is the beginning when her mom is like angry, just staring at the camera, and is like slurping down that martini, and it just keeps going, and you hear the sounds of
like her just like chugging it all hard, and you're just like,
yeah, and
you're
you
like, that's mostly vodka, yuck.
And like it doesn't end, and it just keeps going, and like that's what's great about it is like it keeps you in that moment of like.
I did feel like this was, and I feel like this is one of the more tamer. Like I had never seen this before. Like I thought I did, but I hadn't. And to me, this is one more the tamer David Lynch films, because like
just saying a lot because there's some like
because I mean like there's some strange like there's some weird like stuff said in this too, and you're just I'm just
I think maybe because it's based off a book, but I think from what I had read, like he changed like the ending and some parts to it to make it like more like his version of the characters and stuff, but like maybe because it's like supposed to be a certain way, it's like, oh, I guess I'll make it this way. Like I don't know if the car wreck scenes in the book, who knows, but it's like it probably is, but not in his mind's version of like a lady looking for her purse,
I mean, there's multiple car wrecks in this movie. It's weird.
I like when she picks him up. I thought she said Power Man is playing at the club.
That's what I thought. I'm like, dude, am I about to
Power
Man 5000 in this?
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but it's Power Mad. I was like, oh, which is fucking dope. Like fucking metal and doing all this cool shit.
I know. And then, he's such a badass that he can just like tell them to be like, oh, play this song so I can sing.
Yeah, I like how he makes them stop.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you have to make me prove my love in front of my lady. Now apologize. Fucking kicks that dude's ass and then sings an Elvis song.
Yeah.
Love it. And the band goes along with it, like harmonizing. Like that's
okay. So was that him singing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sings both songs in this movie. I was like,
all right. I figured you would know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump a little bit as we do. And I'm gonna get the child actor out of the way.
Oh, Dylan's child actor rating. Okay, well, Dylan's child actor rating.
And I'm curious about this one. I wasn't going to bring it up because he's not in it very much.
Yeah.
But it's a David Lynch movie, and I wanted to know what you thought because you're, dislike of children actors.
That's my new thing. It's I fucking hate children actors. Fuck you, kids. I think because the kid's limited reaction, but also it works in like a Lynch universe.
Yeah,
of like that's how people talk in his universes. So it fits well. Like, is it good? No, because most child actors aren't. But I think it fits better with this because it wasn't like trying a whole lot. He's just kind of sitting there like
there's not really any way for him to mess up. Like he could just sit there and look weird.
Yeah, work this weird like folded build hat,
And he already looked weird. Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, who would fold it like that's ruined Bill?
So my opinion, the kid did all right for the movie that he's in. I gotta say that. So like there's that whole scene where Lula's talking about they're in that like the bathroom, and she's talking about like that lady's laugh.
Mhm.
It feels like the Wicked Witch, which like there's a whole bunch of Wizard of Oz things in it, but it's so great why she thinks about fire with that laugh. Once you find out why, you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit. It's such a fucking cool like payoff. And
And that's
the
like
whole
that's
reason that
another one
like
of
the whole
those things
scene,
like that pops in, where it's you got the fire that pops in. You're just like, because it just
it's
like
just a
shows
David
her
Lynch
kind
scene.
of thinking.
Yeah.
And at first they don't really talk about it too much. You're like, what was that?
Because you're like, oh, is this how she feels? Because like, is this what David Lynch would do? Just like suddenly like she thinks of fire because she's angry, and like, nope,
Yeah,
there's a
I don't
reason.
know. Like, I want to be that person that's sitting there going like, "Oh, I bet it's this." But then, like with David Lynch movies, I'm always like, oh,
Oh, he does have a plan. But yeah, like once you find out why she associates that, and she doesn't even know,
yeah,
it's fucking great. And the whole time, Sailor's like got a radio on his feet that he's holding up with like a cord at the same time. And I'm like,
yeah. Like
how
he's
does
sitting up
David
against
Lynch
the
think of
wall.
these things? Of like, all right, now put a radio on your feet.
Who knows? He could have been just like sitting there dicking with the radio.
Yeah, knowing Nicolas Cage, yeah. He's like, keep that. Hey, Nick, put that in there.
I like that. Do that.
And he can kick, dude. Like fucking Nick Cage can high kick and like spin kick, dude. It's
How old
fucking
do you think he
cool.
was in this? He looked like
He's pretty young.
he looked like he could have been like 20 something, like late
Yeah,
20s maybe.
but he was fucking kicking, and he does that flip out of the car. I was
I
like,
know. I
oh.
was like, what the fuck, dude? That was pretty cool.
Like there's this interview of him being on some late night show, and he comes out doing like flips and kicks and like yeah, like doing this era of Nicolas Cage thing, punching and whoa kind of a thing.
Like, man.
David Lynch likes playing an entire song of things sometimes. Like when he sings that Elvis song, he sings like the whole fucking song almost, and it just keeps going. And if you watch Twin Peaks: The Return, like a band will play an entire song for the end of the show. And there's even an episode where like it starts with Nine Inch Nails playing a really long song, and then it goes into the episode, which is one of the most bonkers episodes.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah, but
I need to go. I need to watch it.
it's cool that he loves music. Like he'll put musicians and shit. Because like Chris Isaac was in Firewalk with Me, David Bowie was in Firewalk with Me. So like it's he loves musicians because he likes making music, and it's good. It's weird, but it's good.
We need more people like him that are like that can make stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love John Carpenter too. Makes his own fucking music. He's a visionary. He's got a certain style. So you're like, there's not enough of those anymore.
Yeah, like why don't people like want that? Because people, David Lynch, cool. It's like, well, why don't you want more David Lynches, or why don't you want more John
Yeah.
Carpenters? Like, why
Is it
can there
just
be
because they're
only
too
those?
good that nobody can replicate it? Like, why even try?
I don't think so at all. I mean, I think if you have enough drive as a kid, like we did. I mean, look at us. We made movies as kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Daywolf.
Yeah. Some of those were very influenced by David Lynch in the later years. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like him of all people too would be like, fuck yeah, let's get more people to make movies about dreams and your ideas that you get in your head.
Yeah. Like it's fun to watch.
Yeah. It's a
I
ride.
like movies that I cannot predict,
There's this constant noise through the movie. There's a lot of noises, which I love, but every time it like cuts to a weird, creepy scene, it was like, and it stops. So there's that part where Lula and Sailor are driving on the road, and it's them, and there's like happy music, and then it keeps cutting back to her mom talking to Santos, like putting that hit on him, and then it keeps going back. It's this music, and then it goes to like this dark scene, and it's just like the whole movie is like that, and it's just goddamn.
It's funny that like I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I'm super entertained by this movie, and yet I whine about other movies jumping around like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not even like, and sometimes the jumps are not coherent. And why am I accepting? Is it just because it's David Lynch?
I think because it's the style that fits with the movie. If you can do it right and it makes sense to the story and it helps tell the story in a certain way, fucking more power to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time there's that part where Harry Dean Stan's talking to her mom, and like, because you were there, you saw what happened, right? And then it like cuts to what happened with her and Sailor in the bathroom. She's like, I might have seen it. Like, it just keeps doing that.
Yeah.
It was just fucking cool. Transitions were dope. Like, suddenly it's a crystal ball, and then like shit's getting all green, and it's the
like,
stage, and I was like, oh,
and then there's 2 scenes of the crystal ball,
you got
know?
the
So there's like
Wizard of
there's
Oz.
like this weird just like Wizard of Oz thing, and even at the end of the movie,
You got the Good Witch.
well, you got the Good Witch, and then there's I
The
guess
Ruby
can we
Slippers.
talk about it?
Now we'll get to it.
All right.
I'm gonna talk about them dancing in the fucking car while it's driving. He's like doing the salutes and the snaps. I'm like, I fucking love it, dude. When Santos calls Mr. Reindeer to tell him he's got 2 problems, and he's like, leave $2 silver. He's like sitting on a toilet, and it's really low because his like knees are almost like level with his like shoulders and his chest. I'm like, how low is that
Also,
toilet?
they both have this like weird draw when they talk, and it seems like the
Yeah.
bad guys do, but it's not
Mhm.
like it's not like Southern. You know what I mean? Like they'll just say words extra long.
Yes, it's very intimidating, almost like older movies, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, this is how bad guys talk. See?
Oh, like there's that weird comment she makes to him about like her dad. You
Oh,
remind me
like
of my
you're,
dad. You're just like,
yeah.
and then like
Your
the
dad is.
whole like, you're just like,
I don't know if I like this anymore, but it's such a weird couple. Like
I
she
know.
gets all turned on by his like story.
Yeah.
Her saying like, "You remind me of my dad," and he's just like, "It's yeah." 'Cause it's
It's
like he liked blonde ladies too, with
so
skinny blonde girls. He had a big nose just like you. It's like,
just because like what they proceed to do after, and I'm just like, okay.
hmm.
It's like I'm just gonna. It's like he just kind of brushes that one off. I'm just
You're
not
like,
gonna say
all right.
anything to that.
And it's the random shit she talks about too.
Hmm.
I was thinking about cigarettes. Like my mom used to smoke these, and I stole them when I was. When did you start smoking, Sailor? Must have been when I was 4. Like, good God.
Jesus.
My mother died of lung cancer. Smoked Marlboros just like I did. My daddy died too. I didn't have a good child upbringing. That's what the lawyer kept saying. He really watched my back, and I was like, such weird conversations, like just going to nuts or shit.
Oh, and then when they finally make it to New Orleans, and those
No,
guys like walking down the street, like
you're like making weird noise, and the other
yeah,
guy's
the other
just
guy
like,
just keeps laughing at him.
yeah,
Like
which is a
that.
genius way to show those characters that you'll be seeing later on, because they walk by and you're like, who the fuck were they? Why did we see that so long? Did
Yeah,
that need to be shown?
yeah,
Yes,
because it's like it's a decent. There's another one of those scenes. It's like a long scene of and a weird shot, because it's not even like centered, and they just come walking up to the camera and walk past.
any other movie, the car would have driven by, end of scene.
Yeah.
Nope, keep going. Watch these guys walk past the camera. And so when they're in New Orleans and they're at that bar, she's showing him that little mermaid thing. He's
Yeah.
like, "That's the cutest thing I think it's the cutest thing I've ever seen." And like the way he says it, so like ingenuine.
I know
He
it sounded
really
so
means
like
that's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
it sounded like so one of your sayings whenever you say, "Oh boy, I sure do." That sure is really awesome.
Boy, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
It was. I actually liked that little thing. It looked like the mermaid was like rubbing her boobs on the glass.
Yeah, it's like wiggling around. And then that's the weird scene of the guy talking in a high pitched voice about pigeons spreading diseases.
Yeah.
And just kept going, whoa. Yeah.
And then the her mom like smearing the makeup or that made me jump, damn it. Like when it
come
goes
back
back
to
to
it.
her and it's like
Yeah.
all on her face. It's like "Bwah." Like he
She
does,
like, yeah, she's trying to talk Santos into not killing,
Johnny.
Johnny. And then she starts rubbing it on her wrist.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, that's the end of that. And then
Nope.
Sailor's talking about, I had a few bad ideas. Like, there's a few bad ideas running loose out there. And then cuts to like all over her face. And you're like,
Well,
oh,
like
she
there's
does
it's
this a
first
lot.
it's just kind of like right here, like around her
Yeah.
mouth. And that's the part that made me jump because like I remember in like Twin Peaks, there's a few scenes where it'll just be a noise and that makes you jump. The scene itself isn't really scary, but the noise makes it creepy.
It's always an unsettling noise too, like not
Yeah.
one that's been used before and not one that fits with that. You're just like, huh.
and it's always loud and just like,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that made me jump. And then, well, it goes to that, and then later on, it's like her entire
Yeah, her
face.
whole face and her hands too, because she
Yeah.
has to show her hands and do this. I want to talk about always been my favorite scene in the movie. This movie is fantastic. Always has to be my favorite is the Cousin Del segment with Crispin Glover. I don't know why Crispin Glover hasn't worked with David Lynch more. It's fucking beautiful combo. But honestly, the Cousin Del scene's always been my favorite. They called him Jingle Dale because he loved Christmas all the time. And he says that aliens with the black gloves are trying to stop Christmas. And he's like curling on the floor and just like like singing. He
Yeah,
pulls that like
just
black
like in the
glove out of him.
bathroom, and it's just such that's God, that's such a weird scene too.
And the
'Cause that's
mom's just
like his
sitting there
mom's
watching.
like in the other room, just like all.
Yeah. And then that part where he's got like the black glove in the middle of the room surrounded by like 4 rulers and he's like touching it while it's like lightning. Just, like
Just
then
like
he found out the man of the black glove was him all along. And then cutting up those sandwiches. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm making my lunch. Like the way that he says it, like he's Crispin Glover's a great fucking actor. Like
it bums me out that he's not in more stuff. Like every time we talk about Crispin Glover, I'm like, man, you should be in weird shit and it would be awesome. Like there's got to be like roles out there for him.
Yeah.
Again, we need more David Lynch's, we need more John Carpenter's, and they need to hire Crispin Glover.
Yes.
It's weird. I felt like the Wizard of Oz stuff just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because like you don't really hear or see much about it like in the beginning until she starts talking about Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
like,
but they always like
you hear
reference
that
it.
woman laugh.
Yeah, that's when it starts. You're like, she's like the Wicked Witch, or like the Witch of the East.
And then there's just
and then
all
they talk about yellow brick roads, and then they're driving down the road.
Wizard of Oz references, and they're talking about Wizard of Oz all the time. There's even the part where she's got the red shoes on,
tapping her feet together.
And that friggin' scene, Jesus Christ!
So,
like we're not there yet. We're not there.
Once again, another great scene of like something crazy turning into something like beautiful is she's driving after that scene of the guy just like snapping at the gas station, you know, and like pointing to her and everything.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
She's driving.
It was just a nice.
Yeah, like a good scene.
Because he's just like, you know, you got Nick Cage, he's filling up on gas. She's just being her because like her weird just constantly just like the whole
kiss
movie.
Goodbye. Yeah. But how she's like listening to the radio and it's all that bad news. She pulls over and she's like, "Say, you better find me some music on that now." And it gets like that metal music. And they're all like punch dancing and kicking, and then like they grab each other, and then it turns to this like beautiful score by like Angela, and there's like light hitting them, and it's this like beautiful scene. I was like, how did we get to here from metal punch dancing?
It starts out so chaotic, but like you said, there's a buildup in the scenes, and that's like, you know, that's like a super obvious buildup right there.
Yeah.
Well, and even like, I guess if you could even call that the part where there's the old man and she's messing around and being like, that's like the beginning of the scene, and it just gets all weird and then just explodes at that point with like a weird, not really weird, but a really beautiful ending.
Yeah. You can make beauty out of chaos. Chaos. Make beauty out of chaos, man. You can also make jackets out of vegan snakeskin.
What's that?
And represent your individuality and your belief in personal freedom.
That's pretty cool, man.
Thanks. I gotta say, like, Harry Dean Stanton is a phenomenal actor. And there's that scene where, you know, her mom comes to see him because she's like, I gotta tell you something, but she won't tell him. And she's like, we're just gonna leave here. And he just like starts crying, like when she's like telling him, like, you know, like, I love you and all this stuff. And like he just like does this like really realistic, genuine cry. And then he's like doing this when they're like walking away. And it's like, I feel so bad what happens to him. Because he's a fucking phenomenal actor. Like,
like his bark at the TV.
Yeah. When he's watching the hyena, which is a crazy scene because there's like hyenas ripping each other apart. And then he talks to the woman he loves. Fucking weird.
Yeah. I like how like she pretty much doesn't have a choice, and that guy Marcellus is just like, yeah, I'm gonna go kill him. No, I'm in the mood to kill him. It's all good. I'm gonna do it.
Nope. It's gonna happen.
No, it's good.
It's gonna happen. The car wreck scene by the side of the road. Talk about a dream sequence. Like, it's just fucking nuts. And like, it's crazy because it starts out with them driving. They're listening to that Chris Isaac song,
Mhm.
and then like once they get to the car wreck, it changes to like a different song. And then once they leave the car wreck, it fades back into the Chris Isaac song. It's like, wow, that fucking car wreck scene was like.
So
rough.
like my question in the car wreck scene, I'm just like, oh, so I mean, if you found something like that and you just were like, let's get out of here and like pretend like that didn't like, I mean, did you get in trouble for that?
Well,
Like
if
you
they
just did
get
nothing, if
caught,
you're just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to tamper with this. I don't want anything to do with it, and just drive by.
well, he didn't want to get caught because he's breaking parole.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he said. He's like, we got to find a way to take her into town without getting caught for breaking parole. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, there's something sticky on my hand. I'm like,
And like the way she's like moving her scalp. I was like, ugh. I gotta find my purse. Don't tell my mom, she's gonna be so upset. Where's my brush? And then she's like dying. She's like, could you get my lipstick? And I was like, oh God. She died right in front of us. Why'd she do that? How dare she do that? No, buffalo hunting.
Oh, what does that even mean?
He skipped out. He's scared. And that's just a weird scene, like man on a cane in the background.
Yeah.
The only line he has is when that guy's like, everybody should leave. Even me? It's like, yes.
Yes, you. Yeah, and that's yeah. And then like you said, it's just a strange shot and the way everybody's like not centered and they're just like chilling on the side. You got the two old guy or no, it's three old dudes, isn't it?
Three old guys, yeah. It's like one in crutches, one normal, one on a cane.
And it's the guy that comes in the last and goes, oh, I forgot to give this to you.
And who proceeds to like back up so slowly when like the guy's like talking to her. He's just like, so, oh man, this was a great reveal. Earlier on in the movie, when Mr. Reindeer is like calling for the $2 silver, he calls like that house in the desert. And you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where Sailor pulls up to it and it makes that fucking noise. You're like, like when it's like that reveal of like, he's at the house. Such a cool noise, dude. Just like,
I know. And that's like the kind of shit that always makes me jump in David Lynch stuff.
mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you dick. Just because like, again, the scene isn't necessarily scary, but the noise just.
And what is cool, like, it's, you know, this character, obviously they had history. They don't talk about it too much. And then it's just done. Like, we made a pact, a promise, and there's a hit on me. And it's like, no more explain to that. It's just like, no.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think it didn't really need it.
Yeah. Which, we totally forgot about the whole Nick Cage driving for Mr. Santos.
Oh, that's right.
And how he knew Lula's dad. He's a good man. And there was that one night, it was like his last job. He drove to a house he didn't know, and suddenly it was on fire. I don't know what they thought I saw. And I was like, that's... and that was another terrifying shot when she was like, did I ever tell you how my daddy died? It's like, in a fire, I heard. Yeah, he poured kerosene on himself and lit himself, and then it just cuts to that guy running through the house on fire.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, who would just pour the kerosene on themselves inside?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like right there, I was like, oh no, like, no, someone killed him.
Yeah, she takes the news pretty well, well enough, you know.
Well, I mean, isn't it supposed to be like time has passed, obviously? Yeah. Because, I mean, she's telling him the story.
She loves Sailor.
Sailor.
So they get to, what was that? Fish bait? No.
Tuna? Something tuna? Are you talking about in Texas?
Yeah. What's that town called? Bad Tuna? No.
Like Big, no.
Big Tuna.
Was it Big Tuna?
I think it is Big Tuna. They get there and they're staying at that weird, like, hotel.
That with the trailers?
Yeah, so like it's great because he's like, "What's that smell?" She's like, "I threw up on the floor." Well, it starts out with flies on the floor. You don't know why,
Yeah.
and then she says she threw up, and like, of course, in a David Lynch movie, we're going to show the throw up.
Yeah.
Get a good shot of that throw up. Anybody else would be like, "Oh, you don't have to see it." It's like, no, let's get this puke just right. And then they keep referencing, man, that puke smell doesn't come out very easy now, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like, keep bringing it up. Sorry, dude.
Anybody that
Sorry,
comes
keep
in their little like room smells like puke in here.
yeah.
Well, then there's that like scene where they're all like sitting around the table, which is weird. They're just chilling outside with, I guess, other people staying there. Or no, it's like people that live there,
I think so. Yeah,
and they're all just kind of hanging out.
that was a good Jack Nance scene, which I think he has been in pretty much every David Lynch movie, or almost all, until he died, and he was in Twin Peaks. And I had to write it down because it's so good. Because he's like, this man's a fucking rocket scientist. And he's like looking like typical Jack Nance. He's like, my dog barks some. Mentally, you picture my dog, but I have not told you the type of dog I have. Perhaps you picture Toto from The Wizard of Oz. And then he does the, my dog is always with me. And he does that bark. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I know. I was like, man, that's awesome. You dickhead.
And then some guy just like shoots fire from his hand magically after he does that.
Yeah,
gets
like
him
right after he
shiny,
just comes out of nowhere and just poof, and you're like,
and then gone.
man,
That's
that's
a
kind of
dream.
weird. This is cool.
He also gives her a candy necklace. Like, you can't wear those for long without getting like sweaty.
Sweaty, and then they start like melting. I don't think she was she wearing it though?
No, she only wears it later on after he gets arrested and she's in the jail. Sailor! And then
She's munching on it.
mm-hmm. Willem Dafoe shows up. It's Bobby Peru, like the country. The
Jesus
fucking growth.
Christ, dude. Like, God, dude. Like, what a fucking creep.
Him and Vincent D'Onofrio play creeps very well. And like, Willem Dafoe is a fucking terrific actor, but man,
Oh my God,
he nailed the creepiness in this one.
Holy shit, dude. Like, just felt very uneasy when he was on screen in this movie. And then the whole scene with him and her, I'm just like,
tiny teeth, man, they're all gross.
I know, and it's just like in her face, just like, I'm like, yeah, and like with like the weird like lip thing going on. It's like
how he always calls himself Bobby Peru.
Yeah.
So before that scene, you know, they go back and she's feeling sick. And then she has horrible memories of something that happened to her. I don't want to talk about it on the show. Very hard scene to watch.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, first off, gross to that dude. And second off, man, that's messed up. Like,
hard scene to watch. Crazy too, like the magnifying glass. Like,
yeah, like in the way it's filmed makes it super uneasy. And it's weird that she just kind of has that memory jogged after she figures out she's pregnant. Well, no, I guess not really that weird.
Like, that's the thing she has of like, oh, I'm pregnant.
Oh.
And how fast Sailor just pulls out 2 cigarettes to light them up. Like, reads the note and suddenly is like,
and now I need 2 cigarettes. I got
all right with this. Yeah. I appreciate it, Sailor, but I don't know how all right I am with this.
I know, and then proceeds to smoke like the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's all right back. It's the 90s. Who cares?
Yeah, I guess.
It's the South. Who cares?
In the South, it's all right to smoke while you're pregnant. Anybody in the South watching this and be like, no, it's not. Never.
You guys are spreading misinformation. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, we're in prison, so I mean, that's your fault if you're listening to us.
Yeah. You're taking advice from 2 convicts. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, seriously.
I shouldn't call it.
We just watch movies.
Yeah. You're the one taking advice from these bozos.
You're watching us. You're not idiots. Thank you.
Yeah. You're watching a very intellectual show. Thank you for watching this. So that scene with Bobby Peru when he comes in, he's like, I gotta piss. Can I use your head? Not your head. I mean your toilet. Like,
I'm gonna piss all over your hair.
So that he actually peed in that toilet, like Willem Dafoe did, and he had drank a lot of water,
Mm-hmm.
not realizing it's a fake toilet. So he felt super bad that someone had to go fucking clean that out afterwards. He thought it was like a real working toilet. Like, oh fuck, sorry, man. It's okay. I got to clean up Willem Dafoe's pee. I can finally live my life now. Wow.
Yes, they didn't even clean it up. They just took a jug and got it all.
On my mantle, you see that?
That jug.
It's Willem Dafoe's
Wild
pee.
and hard.
Bobby Peru's pee right there. I'm not gonna say I drank a little bit, but not all of it's in there.
I mixed it with something.
So then Bobby Peru takes Sailor to the bar, and that is the creakiest leather scene. It's like
from both of them too.
Yeah, they're both wearing leather jackets, like move around, like, and how like it was so great because like they're driving in the car and Bobby's like, "Oh, where's that little girl of yours? Like, you haven't seen her? I haven't seen her at all." And then like totally gets caught on a lie.
Yeah,
I'm like, because she's with child. It's like she told you. It's like, well, I did see her this afternoon.
Like, well, no, I just guessed. I would have been like, dude, fuck you. I ain't doing shit with you.
Gonna rob a feed store to keep about $5,000 in there, split it both ways.
It's double crossed.
He's the angel of death, as Lula says, when he comes home, proceeds to get in his black bikini underwear and sleep with his socks on.
Yep.
And that was a really fucking cool scene because he's like laying with his back to her, and she's like, because earlier she was like, "Oh, why didn't you sing me Love Me Tender?" And he's like, "I only sing that to my wife."
Yeah.
She's like, "This world is wild at heart and bad on top." She's like, "I wish you would have sang me Love Me Tender." And like he like puts his hand over his face, and I was like, God, dude, this is a fucking like rough moment for this dude. And Nick Cage is just a perfect actor
for him after he got caught.
The that robbery scene. So I love that when he's like pacing us, like, "What are you doing, sailor? I can't do this." And when they roll up and there's that lady's like, "What is she doing here, man?" Like the way he just screams "man" at the end of it. And then the masks, when they put the pantyhose on, it just makes Bobby Peru's face 1,000 times worse.
I know.
Like, I'm messed up.
I know. And then just the way he acts, just like such a fucking psycho.
He shoots those poor guys. Okay, so when they go into the feed store, they go into the feed store. He's like, "Everybody, get in the back." And then like how Sailor's like, "Wow!" And then like goes back to like pointing the gun. But he just like blows that one dude up and shoots his hand off, which later was like, "We got to find it. They'll sew it back on, make it just good as new." I'm like,
probably not. That thing, you're probably not going to find it. It's probably in pieces. Like,
well, I think that doesn't the dog take it? I'm pretty sure the dog runs out with it. But once again, a beautifully violent scene. Because like Sailor tries to shoot him, he's like, "Those are dummies, dummy." And then proceeds to get shot up by the cop and then lands on the shotgun and just like
blows his head off.
Which they had to edit that because it would have got him an X rating because NC-17 didn't exist at the time. So what he did was like put smoke over it. So like the smoke of the gun. So like the head blowing up has like more smoke over it, so you can't see
really
it.
Head blowing up.
And then
Man, it'd be sweet to have like a version without that.
There's the European version. There is.
Oh, really?
Because in Europe, they don't give a shit about that stuff.
Because we're like, hey, it's a movie. It's not real.
Yeah. They also don't give a shit about nudity. So.
And there is quite a bit in this movie. Which, honestly, seeing Laura Dern in that respect was more, well, I was just kind of like, first up, wow. I didn't really think about that. But the first time I was introduced to her was Jurassic Park. So when I think of like, but you like dig up dinosaurs, so like
she's like the plant biologist and like I don't know. Call me a weirdo. I always had a crush on Laura Dern. Even like during Jurassic Park, I'm like, whoa. Then you see this movie when you're like a teenager, you're like, whoa.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Which she did. Only I think she's worked with David Lynch, quite a bit too. And she actually broke her no nudity contract for this movie for him because she felt like it fit the story properly, and it's not like gross and overdone. It's
No,
only
it doesn't
used.
feel. See, and that's a thing about like his movies. They don't feel like he's being pervy. Like he just wants to see the like people naked, like in the movie. Like whereas some you just kind of feel like, I feel like you're just putting that in there because you want to get the actor naked. Yeah.
But yeah, he loves the shit out of her. He respects her a lot. Like he fought for her to be nominated for an Oscar for like Inland Empire or some shit like that. He like brought a cow on the side of the road and did this whole thing. Very weird.
Again, like I wish there were more movies like this. I mean, of course, I can always go back and watch all the David Lynch stuff.
Yeah,
he just needs to make some more movies. Just make some more movies.
I know he takes so long, and then like now he just doesn't. I'm like, please, I just need like something else, dude.
Yeah, like even something short, even like that his like little cartoon.
Yeah. Did you see that one on Netflix? I think it was released a couple of years ago, and it's like called like "What Did Jack Do" or something like that, and he's like talking to a monkey. And like he's a detective and he's like talking to this monkey and like the monkey's talking back, but it's like somebody's mouth and it's like, David doing the voice of the monkey, all weird. And it talks about weird stuff. And it's like, it might still be on there because it's like a Netflix exclusive.
Check it out because
yeah, it's fucking weird. It's like the most recent thing that he's done. But yeah, like Dumbland, fucking cool.
I know, great. And like it's. I feel like if I were to, I come up with a show and I go like, I'm gonna call it Dumbland. It just doesn't work if like someone that's not David Lynch doesn't make it, you know? Because Dumbland just does not sound like it'd be a good show.
It'd be like a Comedy Central cartoon show or an adult.
Yeah, then you go, like and so if someone's like, that doesn't sound very good, but it's David Lynch. What? And it's cartoon? Yeah.
Badly drawn. And there's one where a guy's got a stick and it's stuck in his mouth. Go. Yeah. Get the stick out. Get the stick out.
Get the stick. Get the stick.
We wrote a song about it.
And we did.
Well, we did write a song about David Lynch, but I referenced that in the song. So a song only people got to hear live, never got to record.
It's a bummer.
So then Sailor goes to prison for 5 years for, robbery. And Lula keeps the kid, her son, Pace. I'm going to name it Pace, whether it's a boy or a girl.
Okay, that's what works.
All right. And I love her like new cleaned up image. She's wearing like a nice polka dot dress.
They both age like really well. Like they both still look really good, even after he gets out of prison. After raising a kid to 6 all by herself, she looks great.
And dealing with her crazy fucking mom and her boyfriend. Which when he hugs her and she does that scream, like she screams a lot in this movie, and it's like it hits you in a certain way. You're like, oh, like
it has this like primal, like it's just like a weird primal thing behind it, like this weird force, and it's not like
beginning.
Yeah,
when like Sailor's fighting that guy and she just keeps screaming Sailor, you're like, oh god, it's like,
yeah, because there's like realism behind the like emotion, and like have you ever seen Drag Me to Hell?
No, I've always wanted to. That's the Sam Raimi movie, right?
Yeah. So like in the beginning, there's a part where this kid gets drugged to hell, and his scream is so like realistic to me, and as far as like what a kid would do if he were literally to be getting drugged by demons, and that's the kind of like, and he can't, and like I'll give him props for that because that kid does a good job, and it makes you feel like, oh man, if I was a kid, I'd be screaming the exact fucking way, like just high, like screaming your ass off. And that's what it kind of reminds me of, where it's just like this fear, like an uncontrollable style of like scream that you can't really help.
And it like really brings you into the movie better, because like when some people do a scream, you're like, oh, kind of takes you out because you're like, no, it's just acting. But when it's stuff like that,
it almost gives you like when it's done right, it almost gives you like that cold sweat feeling, or like the chills, and it lingers a little bit after the scene's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
you
you still
like,
feel
all
uneasy.
right, yeah, I'm still in this movie.
Yeah. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, I can do this.
I'm like, man, that was chilling.
The other car wreck scene when she's going to pick up Sailor, and there's like another car wreck motorcycle thing, and that guy's like, "Oh, same thing happened to me last year." Wait, like doing that weird arm thing. I was like, "What? Like, didn't need to be done." David Lynch movie, of course, it needs to be done.
Yeah, yes, it does.
And then
she does just drive past that one though.
Mm-hmm. She just brings her kid down.
Yeah, don't look, get down.
I like how, you know, Sailor tries to come to the realization that he doesn't need to stick around. She did a good job without him.
Which I thought was like weird. I'm like, why though? Because I mean, like, she waited for you, dude.
Just walking on the street, all those gang members.
Just a weird.
Proceeds to drop a hard F, and then gets punched in the like fucking face.
Yeah, knocked out.
Has the dream with the good witch. Yeah,
and he gets knocked out. Then the good witch. The good witch comes.
I can't. It's huge. Laura Flynn, Cheryl Flynn. Yeah, Cheryl Lee. Oh, that's it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, she's the good witch. Don't run from love, sailor. But I'm wild at heart. He gets the titular line, you know.
Yep. Well, it happens twice in the movie. She gets
it,
and he gets it.
Lulu gets it once, and then he gets. But I'm wild at heart.
Oh.
Wakes up, which is something that doesn't get done a lot in movies. It's like when somebody gets hurt, their face actually like, is fucked up. So like how he has like an actual broken nose. Like when movies do that, I love it.
Yeah.
When they get beat up and they actually have like
they're all busted up in the face,
like swollen faces, and not just like some blood and
like a tiny little scratch because they're just like, you know, the action hero.
But I love that he's like, "Oh, I want to apologize to you, gentlemen, for calling you homosexuals. You've taught me a really important lesson in life." And then just runs off.
It was right. I like how they're all just like, it's what's weird about that is it's like it was meant to happen. Like it has this weird, like it doesn't feel out of place because they don't do anything but that.
Yeah, they don't steal.
They just surround him and then kick his ass real quick so he can have a vision, and they don't even like chase him or take, like you said, take any of his stuff. You know,
had enough asshole, and then good. It's like they were there just to teach him that lesson to not like run away from love. I was like, that's so beautiful in such a weird way, like a way to get to that of like get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to get your ass beat.
Yeah,
and then you'll you know, it'll sink in. Got to get it beat into you. But and then there's that scene where her mom is like, "Don't you fucking go back to him, Barbara," and she throws the water on the picture.
Oh yeah.
And I noticed that like toward like the end, it's like she melted, like she was the witch. I'm like, man, they're really just driving that Wizard of Oz theme.
Yeah, like
because I mean they kept going back to it too. I'm like, I got it. got it.
And that whole like her mom just did weird shit, and like she's like
weirdly like rolling
on like an
like
like an awning and like drinking like the martini and stuff. I'm just like,
it's like, so what it seems like is after he went to prison, she just fell off the wagon and just drank, and that was it. But she has like a picture of her in her house, you know, so it's like
even Lula says, she's like, you know, mom didn't like it at first. I was keeping the baby. Now I think she's getting around the idea.
Yeah, obviously, so it's like she's like, oh, I got a grandkid. With her grandkid, but I mean, she doesn't say anything about the grandkid when he calls or when she says that she's going to be around him. She just says, "Don't you dare come around him.
If you try to get between me and Sailor one more time, I'll rip your fucking arms out of the root." It's like,
and she just lays her all. Oh.
And then Sailor jumps over a bunch of cars and sings "Fucking Love Me Tender." The whole song during that.
Yeah, the whole song. I watched it.
It's fun. Like he's a phenomenal singer. He can sing Elvis shit really well.
Just really into Elvis.
Yeah, it's good. It works
was
for
good.
Nicolas Cage.
I know.
Oh, and that whole scene when they killed Johnny. Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Remember this number 10.
And talk about like a weird, just fucking weird. But
Like, there's no other way to describe that scene other than like weird.
there's like some weird, like I'm assuming like fetishy things going on.
Voodoo shit, you know? And
Yeah, like because like part of it, like it just kind of seemed like she was in like complete control of those guys, but then also it seemed like they were enjoying like what was going on, and
how the one guy just like backs out of the room and then
yeah,
and really good, beautiful um acting again from Harry Dean Stanton. Like he's like okay with the situation until he finds out it was Santos
mm-hmm.
and that her mom like betrayed him and everything like that. Then he starts getting really sad and crying and like regretting it and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's all the notes I got though, man.
Same.
It's a ride of a
It
movie.
has a happy ending.
Yeah. Which makes me want like I kind of want to wonder how the book ends, but also I don't because I love this movie and this version so much. Like I want to keep this version of it in my head without knowing the other one.
Well, for me, if I were to read the book, I feel like in my head, like this is going to be the Wild at Heart, like that I know, you know.
Yeah.
And oh, then there's a book, so
And then you like picture those characters in the book and you're like, I don't know if it fits for these
it doesn't really
guys.
fit, but whatever. Maybe the book's good. I would personally check it out. I enjoy a nice read. Hey, and being locked in here, I will have plenty of time to
I mean,
read.
so nobody steals your books.
Well, no one wants to steal that.
Just shoes.
Just my shoes and my socks.
Mm-hmm. And luckily no one's stolen my snakeskin jacket, which is a representation of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you come up with it?
I did. All by myself. People, if you enjoy the shit out of this show, which I know you do, I know you enjoy this show and enjoy the shit out of it, there's a place you can go where you can see a hell of a lot more stuff just like this and maybe even better than this.
No.
Not bad. I mean, yeah, they're actually really good.
Yeah, actually a lot better than this.
Where'd they go?
Where did they go? Oh, I thought you meant they've already left. And I'm like, well, they probably have. They heard us say Project Nerd and they're gone already. They've gone to watch the other stuff, the other thing, the copious amount of nerdy things like unboxings and cosplay and horror stuff, and there's all kinds of record stuff, there's music things,
other reviews of movies,
yeah, other movie reviews, anything that you nerd out on, you're gonna find it.
Yep. If you believe it, you can achieve it at Project Nerd, project-nerd.com. Check it out. Let's give this movie a rating.
You wanna count down the rating?
Oh yeah, let's give it countdown the rating.
Yeah, we're gonna count down.
All right, countdown done. Let's rate it.
I'm gonna give this a 9.5. Willem Dafoe's creepy, gross teeth out of 10. I friggin' love David Lynch, and honestly, before I even like started like trying to find this movie to watch it, I didn't even realize it was a David Lynch movie. So I was super stoked. I had never seen this movie, so it was all new to me. And I mean, I kind of, once I saw, I'm like, oh, David Lynch. I'm, oh, well, now I kind of know what I'm going to get into. But yeah, awesome weirdness. It feels like you're in a dream. It feels like someone is talking to you about a dream, but you also get to experience it at the same time they're telling you about it. And that's kind of the way, to me, most of David Lynch movies feel like, because I don't know, from as far as like my dreams go, I feel like, even though it's about me, I'm still like an outside party, like looking in and watching things go on, and that's what it feels like when I'm watching David Lynch movies. And then there's the jumping around. There's the weird shots of stuff. There's the people that show up and then never show up again, and they walk past the screen and that's it. Or, you know, there's a quick story with a character that you again never see again. Very dreamy, very surreal. 9.5 yucky teeth.
Bobby Peru teeth.
Yeah.
David Lynch is one of my favorite directors, very influential of me. Do I make David Lynch movies? No. I try to make really weird edited movies. Do they come across like that? Who cares? He's a very big influence on me. He's taught me some cool shit. For me, I'm going to give this movie 30 snakeskin jackets out of 10 for being, you know, representation of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom. But it's just a beautiful movie. Like, I remember seeing this the first time, finding out it was David Lynch, and I was like, ooh, now I really want to watch it. And just, it's fucking crazy. It's a ride. Like you said, it's a dream. I feel like it's fucking bonkers. Because, yeah, you get taken to other scenes randomly. You don't know why. And if you really like random people that you'll never see again, I suggest watching Twin Peaks Season 3, The Return, because there's copious amounts of just people showing up and you're like, oh, they're going to be in the show, right? Nope. And they're even famous people too, like some big name actors, like, oh, cool, they're going to be a main character. Nope, you never see them again. And that's the beauty of it.
That's all you need, though.
But
it's a cool thing
this
about
movie. This movie is not for everybody. If you don't know David Lynch, or if you don't like David Lynch, don't watch it. And if you don't know David Lynch, please don't make this your first one. Like, try to find a easier entry one.
What would you make your first David Lynch movie?
I feel like this probably should be your first one. Maybe Twin Peaks.
Eraserhead. I think
know.
that was my first David Lynch movie.
Yeah. But yeah, 30 snakeskin jackets out of 10. Go see it if you're ready, if you're prepared for it. It's a fucking great movie. Beautiful. That's all I can say.
Well, if you're wild at heart.
You know what? I think I am.
I think so. Me too.
Yeah. Folks, if you're wild at heart, go watch Wild at Heart. If you're not wild at heart, go watch Wild at Heart.
Or maybe try a different David Lynch movie. It don't matter where you start, I feel like, in David Lynch. I mean, it's always going to be weird. You're always going to be sitting there going, what?
There's no way to dip your toe. You just fucking dive headfirst into a David Lynch.
Pretty much.
Right?
Pretty much. Because I can't think of anything that's like
Straight
and then
Story.
to me, to what?
The Straight Story, that's like a PG movie. It's a very gentle movie. It's nothing like his other ones, so it's not going to be a good starting point. Good fucking flick.
Good movie. Good
Cage movie.
Yeah.
He ends up in the cage in it.
It's true. Twice.
And
you know what I was thinking is, I'm like, wow, 2 movies in a row where Nick Cage ends up in prison or has to do with something, you know. Well, he gets out of prison twice in this one.
And he has to go see his new kid.
Yeah.
It's almost lights out again, guys. I just want to thank everybody for watching the show, being fans, even though we're behind bars. Innocent, 100% innocent. We didn't do what they're claiming we did.
I mean, we're just a couple of guys with a show about movies.
Just 2 guys with a dream and a love for movies and a love for attention. So thank you for watching the show.
2 innocent guys, 2 innocent bros, 2 innocent best friends.
1 film.
Yeah.
So for 2 innocent best friends, 1 film, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Dane.
And we'll see you guys next week.
So thanks for watching.